20. As every Redskin fan knows, they've got to win them all down the stretch now to make the playoffs. Buffalo is a team that can upset good teams. They've beaten Atlanta and New England. Buffalo can throw the football, but the win could be a factor, Nick.
Well, Don, they're the second best passing team in the AFC, and that's Ferguson to Bob Chandler. Chandler led the NFL in receptions last year. This year so far, he has 41 on the year. So if Buffalo is going to do anything, it has to be Ferguson to Chandler.
As every Washington Redskin fan knows, the team's problem has been the inability to generate points. Both quarterbacks warmed up today, Billy Kilmer and Joe Theismann. Theismann's going to get the start.
Well, they've gone through the youth movement. Joe Theismann, the quarterback, he throws for a lot of yards, Don, but he puts very few points up on the board. And if Washington's going to get to the playoffs, what they have to do, there's a lot of contention that they should be playing Billy Kilmer, the heart, the old man, the man who has a heart as big as this stadium. So we'll see. There's a lot of rumors going around that Kilmer may play today.
Well, of course, the Redskins will have a difficult time getting up after losing that tough game to Dallas last week that came so close, but they have to be up, can afford no more losses. And they have the Cardinals coming up next Saturday, so it's going to be tough. The Bills have won the toss, and they'll be receiving to start the game as they come out in their home uniforms, the blue jerseys, white numerals and white pants, and the Redskins trot out now. It's a very, very cold day. The temperature is about 28 or 30, but the wind is really gusting strong. It is going to be a factor. The field is frozen solid. There was some precipitation on it, and the chill winds have now frozen that field right down, so it's going to be a hard and very rock-hard field to play on, Nick.
Well, Jake Scott, I talked to him before the game, and he said that the Redskins need this game. They know they need this ball game, and they're up for it. A lot of people are saying they had a very poor practice this week in Washington, but Jake says, hey, look we're old men. We know when it counts, we have to do it, and we're going to do it. So we'll see, Don, how the outcome of the game is going to be.
You get an idea of how strong the wind is as Mark Mosley has the ball up and it's blown off the kicking tee. Keith Moody is going to be back deep for Buffalo. He is a second-year return man out of Syracuse. Got excellent speed. Buffalo has some good return men, and this is a very unusual team. Obviously, they're 2-9. They're going nowhere. They are nowhere. But they did beat Atlanta, and they did beat New England. And ultimately, those two losses to those clubs might cost Atlanta and New England a playoff spot. Mosley's kicking with a wind behind him, hits a high spinner. Here's Keith Moody at the 15, to the 20, to the 30, and out of bounds. So the Bills will go on offense first and 10 as Larry Jones came down on teams to make the play for Washington. There are the interior blockers for the Buffalo Bills. These, for the most part, are the guys who were in there when O.J. Simpson went over 2,000. Kimbrough will start with Chandler's wide receivers. Reuben Gant is the tight end. Seymour's out with an injury, Paul Seymour. Ferguson, the quarterback. Roland Hooks and Jim Braxton, the setbacks. As you know, O.J. Simpson is out after undergoing knee surgery. Braxton, the big back out of West Virginia, crashes straight ahead out to the 40. So the Bills go behind their all-pro right guard, Joe Delamoliere, and get the ball out to the 40. That's how the Skins break down to the front line. McDowell and Lorch are the defensive ends. Butts and Talbert are the tackles. Dusick, McClinton, and Curtis will back the line. We have Dave Butts, a new spelling there. Gerard Williams and Joe Lavender are at the corners. Now Mike Collier comes in the offensive backfield of Buffalo with Jim Braxton. Kimbrough in motion, 82. Mike Collier runs the football and gets ahead for, appears to be first down yardage, Nick.
One of the biggest problems so far for the Bills this year has been a disappointing effort of Jim Braxton. The big fullback, 6'1", 240 pounds, 6 years out of West Virginia, has carried the ball 84 times for only 271 yards, which is way below his average. Maybe they're saying O.J. Simpson's not there. That's the reason. But Braxton, I've played against him many times, Don. He's a super back, and I can't understand these statistics.
He's a full load, 240. First and 10, Buffalo, at the Bills' 44. Free football. Ferguson eludes one man, then goes down. Nicely done by Brad Dusick, who was coming strong, and that arm tackle worked. Ferguson doesn't have a lot of weight, plays at about 188.
Looked like a busted play on that, Don. Looked like he wanted to hand the ball to Braxton, but he missed the handoff. Out there, it's really slippery, like you said. A lot of ice has formed on the field, so it could be a little treacherous today.
And I think, Nick, you're going to see a lot more fumbles before it's over because that wind is brutal. Chill factor has to be 0 or below.
Ferguson is throwing into the wind.
Going to be second And long yardage now for Buffalo. Ferguson takes a look. In the flat he goes, and Chandler with those brilliant hands makes the reception. He catches everything. Bob Chandler, former captain of Southern California Rose Bowl champion team. Just completing law school. He's a guy that, no matter how the Bills are doing, you always know you're going to see a good performance from Chandler. As you're pointing out, Nicky had 9 balls caught in the Oakland game Monday night.
That's right. Chandler is a legitimate all-pro, and he's working against number 45, Gerard Williams. If there's a weakness in our Redskins secondary, it is Williams.
John Kimbrough, wide to the left. Chandler is to the right. It is 3rd down and 10, so the Redskins will be teeing off and come with a big pass rush. Linebackers drop in zone coverage. Ferguson throws downfield to Reuben Gant, and the ball is broken up by a guy who just plays great strong safety, Kenny Houston. Houston and Eddie Brown, the deep backs for the Washington Redskins. There is a penalty marker down. It's in the Bills' backfield, however, so it could be a hold. And that's the signal against Buffalo.
Well, it's 3rd down and 10. I feel right now the Redskins are refusing to try to get the ball because Buffalo was punting into the wind, so they should end up with decent field position.
And that is the case. The Redskins decline the penalty, so punting into the wind now is Marv Bateman. He's got one of the better statistical averages. Hits the ball over 41 yards an attempt this year. And back deep for the Skins is fast Eddie Brown.
I love to watch Eddie Brown on punt returns, Don, because he does have that knack of eluding tacklers.
Usually right up the middle. He doesn't get fancy. Poor punt. Eddie Brown will have to feel it like a shortstop, and here comes the blue jersey, so he'll not get a return. The ball is down to the 23. A poor punt. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League as intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League is prohibited. 32-yard punt, no return. There is the Washington interior line. Stokes and Stark are the tackles, Saul and Hermeling, the guards, and Len Hoss, the center. Buggs is catching a lot of footballs now for Washington. One wide receiver, Grant's the other. Fugit, the tight end. Joe Theismann's a quarterback with Mike Thomas and Clarence Harmon, the setbacks. Redskins have signed your old teammate Jim Kicknick.
Good receiver on the backfield.
Clarence Harmon gets the call and doesn't get too much. Nothing at all, as a matter of fact. That's Sherman White, number 83. He was the number 1 draft choice of Cincinnati a few years ago. Look over that defensive front of Buffalo. Ben Williams, Mike Kadish, Bill Dunston, and Sherman White. The linebackers, and this is a very suspect area of the Bills' very suspect defense. Shane Nelson is their best player. The linebacking core. He's a free agent out of Baylor, a rookie. Clark and Harrison at the corners. Shane Nelson, Merv Croker, and Dan Gillick, the linebackers. Tony Green, a very good strong safety, free safety from Maryland's back there, along with Doug Jones. Again, the Bills shut down the run. Shane Nelson came across to make the hit.
Well, Shane Nelson has been playing the best linebacker for the Bills all year. This is a strange story. This man really is a free agent who came in here and asked for a tryout, and the Bills sort of looked at him and wondered. But he's made it real big so far. There he is, number 52. Big, strong lad. Oh, that's Merv Croker, the middle linebacker. Sorry.
You're partial to those free agents, aren't you?
Love to see those guys make it, Don.
It's 3rd and 10 now for Washington. Actually, about 3rd and 9. Just dropping to throw. Theismann swings it out. Clarence Harmon has the ball, and he dives ahead and gets a first down. That last spin-off effort by Clarence Harmon got the necessary yardage, and the Redskins have a first down. Dan Gillick hit him. Let's watch that again.
Well, what they were trying to do is to get Harmon, they make a play-action pass, and they sift him through the line, trying to get the linebacker to go deep, which they do. Now watch the second effort by Harmon. He's really stuck here, but he shakes it off and makes the first down. That was a good effort by Harmon. Gillick had him, but Gillick let him go for the first.
Clarence Harmon, the rookie out of Mississippi State, isn't big, 5'11", 190. Got him playing fullback. Second back through is Mike Thomas, and he's cut down after a gain of only about a yard.
You know, Buffalo's the type of team, Don, that if you give them any acknowledgement that they could get in this ball game and win it, they can come up with a good effort. And so far, the defense looks like they are playing pretty decent out there. Theismann has the wind to his back, so if he's going to do anything, he has to do it this quarter as far as throwing the football is concerned.
Mike Thomas run the ball well. Second down now coming to Washington. No score in the first quarter. Theismann lets her rip, and Frank Grant makes a diving attempt at the ball at the 35-yard line. Allowed out. Be third down and 9. Dwight Harrison was covering on the play. There's Frank Grant going back to the Redskin huddle. You can see Theismann, who knows how to play in cold weather. He spent 4 years in Toronto. Can't get much worse than this.
Calvin Hill just came into the ball game for Harmon. Calvin's a good receiver. But they say if there's one criticism of Theismann, it's that he's not patient. He won't go for the 4, 5, 6-yard passes that Kilmer is so famous for.
There's Coach Allen looking on attentively as the Redskins now have a long yardage play coming up, third down. No score in the first quarter. Theismann eludes the rush. He's going to run for a first down and a lot more. But there is a penalty marker down. Dan Gillick came in when he tagged him out there, but Theismann got about 15 yards on the run.
Well, that's one thing Theismann does do, of course, better than Kilmer, but you have that youth versus age. He was able to shake off the pass rush and make the first down, but it's against the Skins, and the Buffalo Bills will take the penalty, obviously.
Buffalo doesn't get to the quarterback much. In fact, they're about as weak a rushing team as there is, although they're generating a pretty good pass rush here.
Number 74, false start.
That's George Stark, we'll give credit to.
The Bills have only 15 sacks all season. That's through 11 games. And they only have, in the last 5 weeks, 2 sacks.
You know, an interesting statistic, Don, is that the Washington Redskins quarterbacks have been sacked 47 times so far this year. And a lot of that has to do with Theismann scrambling.
Here comes Mike Thomas, and he gets good yardage, running the ball out across the Redskin 40-yard line. Mario Clark ran him out of bounds.
Well, an obvious passing situation, and Theismann decided, well, they think it's going to be pass, so I'm going to run, which he did. Let's see if he got the first down. It's close. It is. It's a first down. Redskin first down, so it was a good call because it worked by Theismann.
The ones that work are all good calls.
Yeah, they're all great calls. Everybody said, gee, they caught the defense napping. But when they don't work, everybody boos because they should have thrown the football.
Here's something Washington fans will be interested in. The Giants are leading St. Louis 7-0. Bob Hammond just ran in from 15 yards out. Weaving and darting is Mike Thomas, and he gets across midfield. On a first down carry, watch the Washington blockers now as you took a look from the end zone.
There's a penalty flag down on the field, but let's watch the interior line. Hermeling, Saul, but just good moves by Thomas. Very elusive runner. When he wants to play football, there's very few backs who are better than Mike Thomas. You see it, 172 rushes this year for over 600 yards, which is a little below his average, but that's because John Riggins is not blocking for him.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 24. First down.
Doug Jones was unnecessarily rough, says Ben Dreith, the referee, and so the ball's advanced down to the 33-yard line of the Bills. So Washington now starting to mount a challenge in the first quarter. There's no score here at Rich Stadium. Mike Thomas gets ahead and down to the 30-yard line. Sherman White made the play. It looks like the Redskins are going to be able to run the ball pretty well against Buffalo.
Well, Buffalo has been fairly decent against the rush, Don, but what Thomas did that time, he was following Calvin Hill and decided to go on his own route, so he went over to the left side. The offensive line of Washington's a very seasoned offensive line, so the stunts that Buffalo's running should not bother him that much.
Mike Thomas has now run the ball 5 times. He's gained 27 yards. We're told the wind chill factor brings the temperature to 8 above. Frank Grant gets a high one in there. Here's another penalty marker down, right at the line of scrimmage.
It looks like the officials are trying to get an act awfully
Skins
early. It's against the Skins. When he did it, it looked like he said the man was tackling the defensive player. Let's see who it's against. I don't know what player it is. But you can see that the chill factor is taking its effect right now because that ball was thrown very hard.
Holding, number 74.
Well, that's a second one against George Stark. Second penalty against him. But anyways, I was saying the chill factor is so great down that if the ball's thrown too hard, there's no way these receivers are going to catch it.
Second and long yardage coming up now.
good screen situation.
2nd and 17 for the Redskins. Theismann goes to the draw, and Clarence Harmon runs headlong into Bob Nelson. Come into the game as a linebacker. That brings up 3rd and long yardage for the Redskins. Bob Nelson coming in as a linebacker. The Bills have 8 players that started the first game this year that were here at Buffalo in 1975, 8 offensive players. And that team scored over 400 points. So there is some personnel still here at Buffalo.
That's right. Mario Clark and Tony Green have 13 interceptions between them. So there's some guys back there who can get their hands on the football. Safety blitz.
Here comes Tony Green. They pick him up nicely. Theismann has the ball tipped, though. Very nearly intercepted. They picked up Tony Green, but somebody else got through. Bob Nelson tipped the ball, it looks like, 56.
Watch Tony Green on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, he's picked up by the backs, Harmon and Calvin Hill. But to the outside, we see Jones coming in, and it's tipped by the linebackers. It looked like Gillick tipped the ball. So they were going to Fugit, but the ball was tipped.
So now the Redskin drive comes up short, and there is Mike Bragg in the game to punt the ball. John Kimbrough and Keith Moody are back for the Bills. Kicking with a wind at his back. He hits it down. It's going to go carry into the end zone. So it'll be a touchback, come out to the 20, and there the Bills will go on offense for a second time. Right now we have 8 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the first quarter, and it's still a scoreless game as the Redskins moved the ball but then came up short. Good. Well, we got some good crew in this booth here, too.
You see that sheepskin coat there right behind you? Yeah, there's some gloves in there. Can you just give me the gloves? I appreciate it.
Right. They got this down to a fine art. Right.
I've got nice gloves.
Good.
Thank you. There is another pocket. It's just difficult to find.
No, thank you, Chuck.
10 seconds. Stand by.
With Nick Bonacani, who's putting his gloves on right now. He's got that 305 area code blood down in Miami. This is Don Criqui at Rich Stadium. The Bills have the ball. They go up the middle to big Booby Braxton. Jim Braxton hits ahead. And there is Joe Ferguson, who's been in this cold many times. He's from Louisiana.
Well, not only has he been in this cold. Oh, there's the Giant St. Louis score, 7-0 in the first quarter. Redskin fans are happy to see that. But Joe Ferguson has been chortled, booed, applauded. He's had everything happen to him as a quarterback here with Buffalo.
I tell you, I've seen him a lot. I think he's a very, very good football player. He's underrated. When they have people around him with Simpson in there, that kid can play. He's going to keep on pitching. He drills it down, and Reuben Gant got the football. Very nearly picked off by Kenny Houston, who came up to make a play on the ball. Brad Dusick knocked him down, but Reuben Gant, big guy out of Oklahoma State, who's playing out his option, takes the ball away. He's got the good gloves going also there, Nick.
That's right. Reuben Gant is a good tight end. 32 receptions for 524 yards this year. Many people think that Paul Seymour, who's been starting at tight end, should be an offensive tackle, and Gant should be the starting tight end. The reason he's playing today is because Seymour is hurt.
Chandler, 81 is in motion. First and 10. Here comes Roland Hooks. You got to work hard to get yards going wide against the Redskins. Brad Dusick was on the stop, along with the dancing bear, Ron McDowell, who resides in the offseason in nearby Eden, New York. Former member of the Buffalo Bills.
You know, that was a great defensive team when McDowell played here at Buffalo. They had Sestak and Dunaway. And then they had McDowell. They had a guy named Tom Day that very few people remember. It was one of the best defensive lines in football.
Well, they made a mistake letting McDowell get away. Big fella can still play in his 17th year. Jim Braxton and Roland Hooks combine on the carry, and actually the man went down with, here comes another back in, and a couple of penalty markers come floating down after the play was over.
The reason for the penalty markers there was some jostling going out on the right flank. Chandler went down and was hit by Williams, and then he retaliated, and Williams retaliated back. So let's see who it's against. It's against Washington for unsportsmanlike conduct, so they'll march off 15 yards against the Redskins. So that keeps the Bills drive going. So it's on a 40-yard line of the Washington Redskins.
You know, you have to point out that this Bill team is, here we go.
Face mask, 15 yards, first down.
Didn't get a number. Let's see here now.
See up the top of the screen, you see number 81 Williams and number 45 Williams and 81 Chandler. And look at Chandler's chin strap. A little.
I'll tell you one thing. Gerard Williams is going to have a long afternoon going against Chandler all day. Straight ahead, the Bills run the ball up the gut. Get it inside the 35-yard line. The wind is very much a factor now. Buffalo is way out of field goal range. They're kicking into a very strong, gusting wind, up about 25 miles an hour.
Now, Roland Hooks, who took over when O.J. Simpson got hurt, has played well as far as carrying the football is concerned. The big rap on Roland Hooks is that he fumbles the football. He's had 6 fumbles in the last 3 games. So therefore, that's why they substitute back and forth between Collier and Hooks.
So that rap is pretty well founded, isn't it? Right ahead, Booby Braxton crashes ahead, and Braxton gets it down to the 29-yard line. He gets a first down. This Buffalo team is very difficult to assess. They went out to Seattle and were humiliated, you'll recall, by the Seahawks. Seahawks ran up, I think, 56 points on them. And then the next week, Buffalo went to New England and ended up beating the Patriots 24-14, and the game wasn't as close as that score. So they can get nasty, Buffalo.
Well, Roland Hooks in that ball game ran for almost 200 yards against the Patriots, which is not a shabby defense.
That might have been the clincher for the Patriots as far as their playoff hopes are concerned, that loss. Buffalo also beat Atlanta here 3-0. They go right back to the run. This time the Redskins close it down as those linebackers fill quickly. The knockdown's at the 30-yard line for a loss of a yard. It'll be second down and 11. Mark Murphy, or Jake Scott, came up. Your old pal from Miami.
Oh, Jake the Snake. I think he's well respected on the Washington Redskins. The people love him in Washington. The man will play hurt. He played against the Dallas Cowboys with 3 broken ribs when no one expected him to even suit up.
You're still broken. Boy, he's some player.
He's an exceptional athlete. He and Kenny Houston are 2 tough cookies. Some think Kenny Houston's the best defensive back in football.
Pretty high rating. Terrific player. Here comes Ferguson taking a look, swings it out. John Kimbrough is looking around at somebody who is ready to bang him right in the small of the back. Joe Lavender. John Kimbrough took his eye off the ball.
Well, if we had a shot of that, we show people what they mean when you say they hear footsteps. Footsteps are those things are the crashing of the feet on the turf when you're about to catch the football, and that's what he heard. He was waiting for the hit before he had the football. There's Joe Lavender, one of the few men in the NFL who wears glasses. Bob Greasy, the quarterback from Miami, one. Joe Lavender, another one.
Chuck Muncie.
Chuck Muncie, the running back from New Orleans.
I think we got them all. I think that's it.
Not bad ball.
3rd and 11 for Buffalo. The Skins drop back in zone coverage. Ferguson almost loses it. Puts it up. Chandler catches the ball and loses it. Chandler had the ball, but Houston put the big hit on, the big hurt, and the ball popped free. It doesn't often when Chandler gets it.
Yeah, when Chandler gets his hands on a ball, it's normally automatic first down or reception. There he had possession of the football for a split second, but Kenny Houston, like he does so often, stripped him of the ball.
Give you an idea of the win. There's Marv Bateman in the punt, even though the ball's at the 30-yard line. They know they've got no shot at a field goal going into the win. Should be angling the ball. Big rush. Hits it straight down. Well, that was about as poorly done as you're going to see.
Well, that's ridiculous because all they gained were 10 yards on that exchange, which is, it doesn't make any sense, Don. You might think either go for a fake punt or what you do is run an offensive play. But no score. We'll be back.
Well, the
No
first
way.
time we were here, Dave, it was 3-0. Atlanta, remember?
That's right, 3-0, and Buffalo really could have tied it. I mean, Atlanta could have tied it up. Remember, they were driving down. So
Yeah.
what the hell? Something happened.
They went for a 4th down.
Fourth down play.
Ran the ball,
What
rather
the
than kick
hell
a
it
field
was.
goal.
Should I give one verse? Oh, come on.
The Buffalo Bills would like to welcome CBS Television and broadcast team to Good Morning County.
Welcome,
Buffalo. Friendly play.
They just welcomed us here to Buffalo, Marv. That is the win factor here in Western New York. The big flag is straight out. 1st and 10 Redskins. No score in the first quarter. 4:11 to play in it. Mike Thomas turns upfield. Thomas is picking his way through the Buffalo defense and is knocked down to the 29-yard line. Got about 9 yards on the play. Mike Kadish knocked him down. How did Miami? They drafted him number 1, then cut him, huh?
Well, the thing, the book on Mike Kadish is he came down to Miami about 30 pounds overweight, and so Shula told him, look at Mike, you need to take off the 30 pounds, and he reluctantly did so, and Shula thought he had sort of a bad attitude, but we just felt it was the youth in him. If given an opportunity, he could have made the ball play.
He's been Buffalo's best lineman on defense. Clarence Harmon runs the ball and looks like he has a first down. Cape took it across the 30-yard line. Sherman White, 83, and Bill Dunston on the stop. As the first quarter clock winds down, 3:25 and running, still no score on the board. The Redskins in their first possession ran the ball well, particularly Mike Thomas. Got it down to the 30-yard line of Buffalo. Then a penalty against the Skins took them out of range, and passes were incomplete, and finally they punted the ball. They did move the ball in their first possession. Now it is 1st and 10, and here comes Theismann sprinting out. Fugit was there, and Grant was there, and it was perfectly thrown between them.
Well, it was good coverage on that. It was a sprint-out pass, meaning Theismann sprinted out to his right. And the Buffalo defense of that did real well. They all came over, flooded their area with defensive players, and Theismann could not find anybody open. Don, you're from Buffalo, and I played many games here. You know, and I look around the stadium and see probably 20,000, 25,000 people here. I mean, it's almost sickening because they are great fans here.
Well, 2 years in a row, they led the NFL in attendance. Just 3 years ago, last time. 80,000 a game. Dan Gillick makes the stop. This, of course, is a working town, and it's not an expense account ticket. It comes out of people's pockets, and if the Bills don't win, they don't. If they do win, they fill the place. The Giants continue to lead the Cardinals 7-0 on that 15-yard run by Bob Hammond in the first quarter. So the St. Louis Cardinals have a problem right now playing at the Giants ballpark. The Giants were humiliated by the Cardinals, you may remember, 5 weeks ago, lost 28-0 on a Monday night. The Giants might be a little angry today.
Oh, yeah.
Theismann looks on 3rd and 11, lets her rip, and Danny Bugs had the ball and lost it. Awful tough to catch a hard-thrown ball in this weather, but Bugs almost had it. On the defense was Dwight Harrison.
Well, that was a great hit by Harrison because Bugs was just tucking the ball away, counting the first down, and Harrison just stripped him of it. Now, getting back to the crowd factor, you know, the Buffalo Braves and the Buffalo Sabres, you can't buy a ticket to the Sabres games, Don.
No.
They say that you have to put in on a waiting list. The Sabres in the National Hockey League and the Braves in the NBA.
Yeah, they draw if they give him something to go out for. Bragg hits a line drive downfield. The wind at his back. Keith Moody fields the ball on the run, loses his footing, and then gets waffled. Coming down to make the play for the Redskins. Looked like might have been Mark Murphy, young guy out of Ron McDowell is also down in the play. He guy covers some ground. Still 0-0.
Yes. Be our
Yeah.
guest. You're nobody when nobody loves you.
Okay.
Dodge is the car of the Buffalo Bills this year. The Bills are pleased to be associated with
Can I give a little you're nobody when nobody loves you? Thank you.
Dodge cars and trucks. And Local 5 Steelers.
Don Criqui with Nick Bonacani back at Orchard Park, New York, and that is the story of Buffalo's season. 2-9 and
no people.
Nothing out there. Well, there's some there, but not like usually. It is 1st and 10 now for the Buffalo Bills. Again, they bring Chandler in motion. They're trying to throw Gerard Williams as many problems as they can. Handoff goes right up the middle. Bills move it out. Braxton carries. Hits the ball out to the 39-yard line.
In Atlanta, Don, New England leads Atlanta 3-0 on John Smith's field goal, 36 yards. And then Pittsburgh. I guess they're playing at, no, Seattle's playing at Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh leads 7-0 on Terry Bradshaw's 5-yard run.
Tell you one thing, the Steelers are starting to smoke a little, aren't they, Don?
Oh, yeah. But New England and Atlanta is a very important game because both of those teams are fighting for a playoff spot.
Second down coming up, 2nd down and 5. Ferguson takes a look, fires in the flat, and Lavender screens off the ball nicely. It was intended for Bob Chandler, and I think Ferguson intentionally triggered it high because Lavender was right there.
Well, he took too long to throw the football. He went back and he looked, and by that time Lavender had recovered and came up. Had the ball been thrown perfectly, Lavender would have been in the end zone for a touchdown for Washington.
So we have now coming up for the Buffalo Bills, 3rd down and 5. The ball is out to their 39-yard line. That is John Kimbrough, a rookie from St. Cloud State. He's a burnt out in the left flank, 82. Reuben Gant, the tight end, can go deep, and he splits out 5 yards to the right. Chandler at the top of your screen. Ferguson goes to the run, and the Dancing Bear makes the big play. Ron McDowell smelled it out, and the Bills will have to punt it back to Washington.
Well, they had a safety blitz on. Jake Scott was also there to help out McDowell if in case he missed him. So Washington must have known something.
Ron McDowell makes those smart plays game after game.
You talk about a loved ball player. Boy, do they love him in Washington. I think the older he gets, the more respect he gets.
Dan Deerdorf says he plays the run better than anybody's ever been against. A poorly punted ball. The wind had something to do with it. It takes a Washington hop back the other way, so the Redskins are going to get good field position to start this drive at their 47. Bateman has given the Bills nothing so far.
That's what you call a shank shot. The shank shot going off to the left, so Washington will come back on about the 45-yard line. Good field position.
St. Louis tied the game.
They would have to tie it. Joe, how you doing? Boy, 3 stiffness for that.
Huh?
3 stiffness.
You remember Hank Burns. Hank Burns was inside.
There's a
Class of 62 well represented here, eh, Hank?
Hey, can you guys get the air conditioner? I smell some alcohol emanating from the top row there.
Okay, now the Cardinals have come back on the right arm of Jim Hart, who just threw to Ike Harris in that game, and New Jersey is tied up at 7-7. It is tied up here also as we start the final minute of the first quarter, 0-0. Theismann takes a look, running men deep now, puts it up long. Fugit going for the football, but it comes in way too long. That wind is very strong behind Theismann. He had much more than he needed on that.
He likes Fugit. It's obvious he likes Fugit, and Fugit has reacted this year with 28 receptions, with 3 TDs, but that time he was well overthrown.
Big thing, Fugit catches the ball deep. He's averaging over 19 yards a catch.
Big game there, Don. Denver and Houston, 0-0 in the second quarter. Two good defenses. And Pastorini to White Shoes Johnson. They could put it on nothing flat.
Second down and 10 now for the Redskins. Theismann fakes the draw. They give him some time, and now Gillick starts to run him down. He gets the ball away in a desperation effort. So the Redskins are not getting the ball downfield very well right now. Ben Williams put the rush on him. The Redskins, it's incredible how many times their quarterbacks have been sacked. 47 times so far this year.
I thought it was a misprint when I first read it, but it's true.
Theismann's been sacked 29 times. Billy Kilmer 18 times while he was in there. Theismann has thrown the ball 7 times so far, has completed just 1, and that was for 10 yards.
Gene Fugit graduated from a small school up in the Berkshire Mountains of Amherst. Same place that Doug Swift came from. There's George Allen. He'll lick his fingers. There it goes.
Bill Kilmer's a little apple-cheeked out there today with that cold blowing on him.
He would rather be a quarterback than on the sidelines.
3rd and 10. Theismann takes a look, swings it out. Nicely thrown, but Mike Thomas has got to work to get the first down, and he does. Tony Green knocks him down, but the Redskins come up with a big 3rd down play. On 3rd and 10, they get about 15 yards in the first down. Watch Thomas.
Thomas out of the backfield. He's working on his safety. Now watch the field. You got to give the field a little credit for the first down. There we go. Freeman takes a fall on a frozen turf, and Thomas gets the first down. A big first down for the Skins.
Thomas plants those feet flat down, keeps his traction, and gets the ball down to the 39-yard line of Buffalo. That would be the last play of the first quarter. Gun sounds, and so the Redskins will now work into the wind, as we have, after the first quarter of play, no score on the board here in cold, cold Buffalo. I'm going off headset for a moment.
He's going to the head. Is heads not permissible?
Yes. Tampa Bay is
Next quarter, Houston 7, Denver nothing.
The Redskins are moving the ball downfield now. They have it inside the Buffalo 40-yard line for a second time in the game. Still no scored up. We start the second quarter. Theismann taking a look deep. Lets her rip. Frank Grant going for the ball, and it's underthrown. And so that will bring up 2nd and 10 for the Redskins at the Bills' 39-yard line. Big game down at the Astrodome in Houston, and right now the Oilers are leading the Broncos.
7-0, Don, on Ronnie Coleman's run. That is a little surprising because the Denver Broncos do have such a great defensive ball club. But Houston also can score. Pastorini, Burrows, White Shoes Johnson, good offensive team.
2nd down and 10 coming up now for the Redskins. Handoff goes to Thomas. He tries to cut back. His feet fly out, and so it'll be 3rd and long yardage for Washington.
Well, with the turf assisting him on the first down, it hindered him on that down.
The Redskins for the rest of the first half will have very difficult field goals attempts because they'll be kicking into that wind. That flag has been straight out since the game started.
1 yard loss.
No, you wonder how Kilmer feels on the sideline after having played so many games for the Redskins, knowing they're only one game out of a wild card spot.
I know how he feels today. Cold. He'd like to be out there moving around. Here's a swing pass. Thomas has the ball and another first down. As Theismann led him perfectly with a little arc pass. And Mike Thomas has played a lot of football here for Washington today. Is knocked down by Freeman, but he gets a first down.
Well, what they're doing is they're putting the safety Freeman on Thomas, which is a good defensive tactic, but Thomas is beating Freeman on every play, and that time for a first down. So the strategy of Buffalo is not working, because normally a linebacker would cover Thomas coming out of the backfield, but they're using a safety, but to no avail.
So that brings up first down and 10 now as the Redskins drive on. They've been down this far before, but then it came up short on a penalty. Thomas has to work hard to get a single yard. Shane Nelson and Sherman White were on the stop for Buffalo. He's second and almost 10. He got less than a yard.
Well, that really hurts when you hit the turf that hard, Don. It's a frozen surface, and he was slammed down that time by Kadish and by Dunston. Those guys are trying to deliver blows out there, and Thomas is trying to make the moves, but the turf is really slippery.
It is second down and 10 coming up. Theismann throws, Fugit catches, goes out of bounds inside the 20. Bring up third and about 3 now as Doug Jones knocked him out of bounds. Fugit turning out.
The Buffalo Bills are blitzing about 50% of the time. That time Gillick went, and Croker, the middle linebacker, also went, but Theismann read it and got the outlet pass out to Fugit.
Third down and about 3 coming up for the Washington Redskins at the Buffalo 19-yard line. A big play now. We'll see if Theismann tries to fire a short one or Mike Thomas run the ball again.
Nickel defense is into Buffalo.
Mike Thomas gets the call, and Mike Thomas again delivers for Washington. The money yards as he brings it inside the 15-yard line.
People here in Buffalo are booing every time they take Kadish and number 59 Nelson out of the game. And what they do is they put an extra defensive back, and you see Thomas here running against a nickel defense, which is not a good defense against the run, because you don't have a defensive lineman in there, and you take out a linebacker and you put in a couple of defensive backs, and those defensive backs really don't play to run as well. So it has not worked for the Bills.
Thomas has gained 39 yards and 10 carries for Washington. Again, Mike Thomas is the first back through. Using a lot of that trap blocking, the Redskins.
Well, they do. They like to do is fake to the fullback, who is Calvin Hill, then come back and give it to Thomas on the inside trap. They're blocking with Ron Saul and Terry Hermling doing a cross block up the middle. So they're working on the guts of the Buffalo Bill defense, which is Kadish and Dunston.
Ball is now down to the 12-yard line. There's no score in the second quarter. 11:49 to play in the first half. Thomas and Calvin Hill, the setbacks for the Skins. Theismann looking over the middle. Here comes the rush. Theismann throws, and Fugit has the ball, and a first down, and maybe a touchdown. He's got it all. So the Redskins all of a sudden start to connect as Theismann drills it down to Gene Fugit on a broken play, and he just worked his way for the first down, kept on working, and got into the end zone.
It's called a lack of a pass rush, and Theismann has all day to throw the football. I looked for Grant, who was covered. Then he saw Fugit sitting on his sideline all by himself. Now this is just power. He just powers his way into the end zone, running over Doug Jones for a touchdown.
Dancing around on Little Cat's feet. Mosley now will try the point after. Hitting it into the wind, and he puts it right through the middle. Dallas Cowboys, Coach Allen says, were a little unfair with Mosley last week. They went after him when he kicked the ball off. So the Redskins drive down the field and put the first points up as you see Joe Theismann in the process.
Any pass rusher on, they may have a sack or loss. They scored. What was it, 14? No, 7-3. John Lightbolt cut by Buffalo.
Dad, I don't have a card. Heisman Trophy.